So when you want to make squares, the first thing you want to do is you want to measure out 13 inches long, right? 13 inches, and mark it. And you want to measure out 6.5 inches wide. Cut your material, and this is how you get started making what I call squares, okay? Now, this aside, I like to iron it. Now, I'm just showing you this one how to start, okay? So you have 13 inches long by 6.5 inches wide, and this is your good side of your fabric. So you want to put good side to good side. So you just fold it over, and I give it an iron to make it flat. And if by chance you have some edges that you don't like, or you happen to not cut straight, because sometimes that happens, you can just trim it up any way you like. There you go. So you could pin on these edges if you want, or the more you get experience with your machine, you just do it like normal. So it's just easy to remember, good side to good side. And I thought we would talk about some easy swaps to make that will actually save you a lot of money. So as you can see, I got the old sewing machine out, and you're going to sew 3 sides but leave a small opening here. And the reason why we leave a small opening is because we need to flip the fabric after. So I'm going to stop here, so there's about an inch and a quarter that's going to be open and not sewed, and I'm going to back stitch right here, and that's so when I flip it over, all the stitches don't come loose or anything. Back stitching just means you go back and forth on the whatever section you're doing. So I have a whole stack of them here, and I'm just going to butt them up one after another so they're actually all connected together. And the noises you're hearing is my cats because they're fooling around again. Has anybody guessed why we're making these squares, as I call them? This is a wonderful alternative to Kleenex. So forget about buying Kleenex, paying money, using it, throwing it out, paying money again to keep buying it. Think of way back when everybody had handkerchiefs, right? That's what everybody used to use way back when, is handkerchiefs. They would use it and reuse it. So, you know, people say zero waste is relatively new, but it's actually not that new, because my family and a lot of people have been living relatively zero waste for a very long time. Handkerchiefs are nothing new. They've been around for like hundreds of years. So, as you can tell, I don't buy Kleenex. I don't waste my money on Kleenex. I think it's a waste of money. I think it's a useless product. With that said, I also don't buy paper towels. These squares are perfectly fine for cleaning up messes. I also backstitch my corners. By backstitching your corners gives you a stronger corner and you're less likely to get a hole. And the material I'm using is flannel. So it's like those flannel plaid t-shirts. And the reason why I'm using flannel is because A, that's what I have. B, more likely because flannel is very soft. It's really good on your nose, so it's not going to chafe your nose or make your nose too dry and horribly red. It's also very absorbent. So if you're using these for your nose or for picking up spills or something, it'll suck it up really good. Another really good thing about this is if you're brave enough, if you're open-minded enough, you can even use this for toilet paper. Yeah, I said it. But you need to have an open mind. They would also call it family cloth. So what happens is a lot of people, they get a bidet, and when they get a bidet attachment, you know, it shoots water right up on you and it cleans you. And I'm telling you right now, if you start using a bidet, it is the cleanest you're ever going to feel. So normally people would use these squares, these cloths. I call them just squares because they're square shaped. And you're just drying off the water. There's no poop left on you. It's just water, right? So the other thing is you need to know how to clean them properly. Number one, if you're just using them for your nose or as paper towels, you can throw them in your washing machine like normal. Just on a normal cycle, cold water, it doesn't matter. Whatever you wash in. I wash in cold water. I don't use hot. And the reason I use cold water is because here in Quebec, Canada, we don't get charged for our water, but we get charged to heat our water. So we have to pay for the electricity to heat our water. So I've always washed in cold. However, should you choose to use these as family cloth, you can, if you have the option on your washing machine or even dryer, wash them in a sanitary wash. So you actually have like an option that'll say sanitary or whatever. It does take longer, it does use hot water, but if you're squeamish or concerned about bacteria or whatever, just use your sanitary wash. But I guess that depends on how advanced you are in your zero waste journey and how far you're willing to go. Now, about the material. I actually get my material from 2 or 3 places, or I used to. Number one is I started a free group, a Buy Nothing group on Facebook for my area. Because I couldn't find one for my area, so I created it myself. And on this group, the rule is everything you post on the group is for free. Right? You can't sell anything on the group, you can't buy anything on the group. So, people posted that they were giving away material for free, so I grabbed it. Now, the other option that I used to do, but I don't do anymore, is we used to have this store called Fabricville, and it's a fabric store. They sell all kinds of fabric, but it's expensive, very expensive. But they do have a liquidation section, and the cheapest fabric you could find there is about $4 a meter. So, and it's Canadian dollars, so it's about $4.60 a meter after the taxes. And I used to buy my stuff from there, but I stopped. And I was getting most of it from the free group. I was getting a lot from the free group. But, you know, you don't always get stuff from the free group. It depends on what people are throwing away, giving away. But I found this better place that I volunteer at a local church, and they actually have 2 rooms of fabric, and they sell their fabric for $1 Canadian a meter. So that's about $1.15 Canadian a meter for fabric, and you will never find a deal like that anywhere. Okay, now what we have is we have all the squares stuck together on their threads. We have a whole bunch of them here. All we're going to do is cut off the threads because we don't want the excess thread. And I have been making these squares for many years now, and I start to run out of them because they get really used up, and over the years they start, you know, they have a hard life, you know. So these squares are inside out. And remember, we left an opening, so all around here is all sewed. We have an opening here, so we are going to turn it the right way. You just got to mush everything through and use your finger to get to the edges, because you want to push out the corners, and you're running your finger along the seams on the inside, mushing out the corner. Now it's the right way, but you have an opening. So we're just going to fold it a little bit, not a lot, just enough. Tuck it in there. And we're going to iron it. So I have it folded a little bit. I'm going to put it down, and we are just going to iron this seam here because it's sewed up to here. So we're just going to iron this piece to keep it flat. Now you can iron the whole square if you want, but it's not necessary. So this just keeps it more flat. So when I go back to my sewing machine, I am going to just sew here, and that square is going to be completely done. Now that we've folded the little piece down, we are going to close off this square with some stitches. So we're doing the same thing. We're back stitching. Now, you will see the stitches here. Now, if you're that picky, just too bad in general. There you have a zigzag stitch. Zigzag stitch is a lot stronger than some of the others, and I like using it. So I'm just going to cut these threads off, and that square is 100% ready for whatever you want to do with it, and it's going to last a really long time. Okay, now that we sewed all the openings closed, we have to cut it again. We just cut off all the excess thread, and then your square is done. It's actually all done. Like I said, you'll see your thread here, but that's fine. So now you have a nice, soft, beautiful square that you can blow your nose with, can wipe up spills with, and if you're open-minded enough, you could wipe your butt. I guess it depends on how far you want to go. And with that, guys, that is the video, and I will see you next week.